the coach of the number 7 in the AP poll, Utah Utes football program. Joining us here, again, on the Mercedes-Benz Vans phone line is the head coach of Utah football, Kyle Whittingham. How are you doing, Coach?
Doing well, Rich. How are you?
I am doing great. What is going on in your world with the football season right around the corner? Tell me what your day's like. What do you got?
Well, we're just wrapping up fall camp.
Mm-hmm.
We got 2 more days of camp. We start school on Monday, so that'll get us into our in-season routine. But we've had an outstanding camp so far, and knock on wood, stayed very healthy. So I think relative to where we are in the process, we're in good shape, but we still got a lot of work to do these last couple of weeks.
Coach, I don't know if you know where I went to school.
I don't.
Okay, I didn't go to Utah. But I was rooting. See if you can guess it. I was rooting very, very hard for you at the Rose Bowl last year. What do you think I went to school?
Michigan.
Yes, sir. Man, was I rooting for you in that game? Oh my gosh. So how much of a step forward do you think you can take from that game last year,
well,
Coach?
We got a lot of returning players. You know, we lost some really good players. Don't get me wrong. You know, Devin Lloyd, a first-round draft choice linebacker, Britt Covey, who was so instrumental to us in so many different ways, and a bunch of other good football players that have moved on to the National Football League. But we got a really good nucleus coming back. It starts with our quarterback, Cam Rising, first-team All Pac-12 quarterback last year, and he is the leader of our football team. And we had a really good recruiting class that we brought in, and a bunch of those guys are going to be impactful right away. You know, they've really shown up, and it looks like we hit the jackpot on a bunch of these guys.
So how much of can you take from that game, experience-wise, for the kids that did play in it, and obviously it didn't work out in the end, but what do you take from that game with those kids that can spill over into this season, Coach?
Well, it was a great experience for them, first of all, and to be able to be on that national stage and in that spotlight was great for our program, for our brand. And as you mentioned, there's a bunch of those guys coming back that are going to be with us this season, and you know, it just makes you every experience you have, you grow as a football player, and you know, we'll hopefully, you know, be able to handle the role of you know, the favorite, which has been, you know, definitely not our MO. We usually sneak up on people, but you know, we've stressed to our guys all year long it's harder to stay on top than it is to get to the top, and we got that target on our chest, and we got to be able to respond and be able to handle success. That's the bottom line. We had a very successful season last year. It was really the next step in the evolution of our program was to win the Pac-12. We'd won the South 3 or 4 times, got to the championship game 3 times, and you know, this was the 3rd time was the charm. We were able to get over that hump and take that next step, and now we got to take another step forward this year.
The challenge of going to the swamp is what? What do you got for me?
Oh, a huge challenge. I mean, down in SEC country, you know, new season, new coach down there. You know, they got a top 10 team coming into their place. I mean, it's going to be, you know, a crazy atmosphere and environment. We're already obviously starting to prepare for that, but
yes,
that's going to be a big challenge for our football team.
I mean, week 1. I mean, just right off the bat. I mean, that, and then again, also going into the heart of SEC country and trying to strike a blow for a conference that definitely does not have the respect. I think you know that. Nationally, despite what you did last year, despite what other programs in the conference have done. Do you play that up with your kids at all, Coach?
Well, not necessarily that exact part of it and that piece of it, but you're right on the money. I mean, you know, our conference has got to regain respect, and there's only one way to do that. It's on the field. I mean, you can't talk about it. You can't lobby for it. I mean, you got to go out and get some really quality wins, and that's bottom line. I mean, that's what it's going to take, and we have our opportunity this year.
Kyle Whittingham, head coach of the reigning Pac-12 champion University of Utah Utes football team, right here on the Rich Eisen Show. I do know, I've spoken to many coaches throughout my career, and I understand that you must control only what you can control and what is in front of you. That's my setup. That's my wind-up for this pitch, Coach. Are you concerned about the future of the Pac-12 right now, Coach?
Concerned, I don't think that's the right word. I think there's a lot more movements going to take place. I think we're heading to super conferences. I don't think there's any way around it. How those super conferences end up and you know, how the landscape shapes up is, I don't think anybody knows exactly how it's going to play out, but there's going to be X amount of schools that are on the right side of the line in the sand when that line is drawn, and that group of schools will govern themselves as far as, you know, I think they'll break away from the NC2A, have their own playoff system, the gap between the haves and the have-nots is going to be huge. That chasm is going to be gigantic, and I think that's where things are heading.
I mean, that is I agree with you. I could not agree with you more, and it's refreshing to hear that from a head coach of a big-time college football program say that. So do you, in your spare time, call up your AD and school president and say, where are we at the seat at this table? Do you do that,
well,
Coach?
Not a lot of spare time, but when I do run into them on the rare occasion, I do get updates and kind of get a feel for what's going on and what what may be heading down the pike. But they don't even know. I mean, it's just going to have to be a waiting game and see how the cards fall.
And then, what was your thought when you heard the news that I'm sitting in Los Angeles here doing this show, Coach Whittingham, that this is now Big Ten country? What did you think of when you heard that news of UCLA and USC going to Big Ten?
Yeah, we had a team meeting the next day, and our stance on that is, hey, all we're focused on is our football team in this season, and this changes nothing in those regards. We got to be ready to play. Both USC and UCLA on our schedule for the next 2 years, and so it's business as usual, and don't let that be a distraction. Block it out, and just like you said, control the controllables and do our thing.
You don't say they're running from Utah? You didn't say that?
I did
running?
not say that. That was not part of the conversation. But
I think that's a line. You could use that line if you'd like it, Coach.
Maybe,
Go for it.
I may have to use that. We may have to steal that.
Yeah, when you're playing against USC week, Lincoln Riley versus Kyle Whittingham, and coach versus coach, you just say they're running from us. Go ahead and say that, please.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I have a feeling you're not writing that down. I have a feeling you're not looking for a pen and paper right now to write that down. No. Okay. Very good.
No.
All right.
No.
All right. Very good. I get it. So what's the NIL world for you, Coach Kyle Whittingham? How does that affect your world at Utah? The NIL.
Well, it's crazy. It's I guess out of control might be the right way to phrase it, but and who knows where it's going to end up. It's got to somehow it's got to be reined in and put some parameters on it and some guardrails, as the term people are using. But right now it's a free for all, and it is impacting recruiting tremendously. This class is really the most impacted. I mean, it gains momentum each year, and the players in this class are very interested in hearing what you got in mind NIL wise and what's in it for them, and I don't know how they're ever going to be able to get a handle on it, and then you got your own team, and you got your own players are got their own stuff going, which is great. I'm not saying I'm anti-NIL.
Sure.
It's just got to be regulated somehow, some way. And right now, I think everyone's searching for that. And if it doesn't come from the government level, I don't know how it's going to be implemented. And I don't know if the government's interested in jumping into that or not. Who knows? But right now, it's pretty chaotic right now.
So have you had kids that in recruiting say to you, hey, I've gotten this deal from somewhere else. If you match it, I'm coming to Utah. If not, I love you, but I'm not coming. Has that happened to you?
Absolutely. Yeah, there's no doubt about that. They, play, and not every kid, but
sure.
There's a certain percentage of guys that that's their main objective. It's not your culture or your academics or your winning tradition or your location. It's what's the NIL package for me?
So when that kid leaves the room, or you leave their house or the Zoom or whatever it is, what do you say to your coaches when that kid leaves the room?
Yeah, well, we gotta somehow we gotta stay in the game and stay competitive. Now there's limitations on us on what we can and can't say, so we can't delve right into it our own selves. But it is a challenge. I'll just leave it at that it's a challenge, and we're working through it and trying to navigate through it.
Well, because just to tie it all together in a way from the beginning of our conversation, Utah coach Kyle Whittingham here on the Rich Eisen Show, is you mentioned how you think this is going to super leagues or super conferences or however. Maybe this might be an impetus for that, because if you have a smaller group of programs, you can come up with those guardrails that you can get a better consensus if the world that you're living in is smaller. Would you agree with that?
Agree 100% with that. I agree 100%, and that would be a way to rein things in a little bit and get some control of it.
Kyle Whittingham here on the Rich Eisen Show. Okay, so when you get the kids and they're in school and everything is all set, your first order of business to get ready for Florida is what? Do you show them game film right away? What do you got for me on that front?
Yeah, we've been doing that already. We got a head start on that. Typically in fall camp, you don't get too involved with the opponent. You're worried about your own team and your fundamentals and techniques and so forth. But we realize the challenge ahead, and we've already broken up into scout teams many practices ago. We were already practicing in a heat environment, crowd noise environment. Things that we typically would never do during fall camp are being implemented this year.
Okay, Coach, I appreciate the 2 cents. Look for my call during the season. Certainly, if you drop that line, UCLA or USC week, I can remind you. I can send you a reminder if you'd like.
What was it again? They're running from us?
They're running. Yeah. Because they'll be asked. You will be asked that week. Hey, they're leaving the Pac-12 for the Big Ten, and you could just say they're running from Utah. That's it. That's what they're doing.
Rich Eisen says they're running from us.
Yeah, you attribute it to me. I'll take it. Okay. All press is good for me. That's the way I look at things. I'm fine. Coach,
gotcha.
Thanks for the time, Coach. Appreciate it.
Okay, Rich.
You got it. That's it. Kyle Whittingham, everybody, of Utah football.